Hello, David.
Good morning. Beautiful sunny day here in Carolina.
That's nice.
Hmm.
It's gray and rainy here.
Mm.
Yesterday was
Another
gorgeous.
day, we'll probably have it. I used to count on 2 days and 20 degrees higher from WHO in Des Moines.
Oh, okay. Hi, David.
Yeah, hi, Brent.
There's John and Betty. And Sylvia.
Morning. We have two Daves and a John. Two Johns. Two Daves and two Johns and a Dan.
And a sideways Dan.
Hello, Rosie.
One of these days I'll figure this out. How about that?
That's good.
Yep, I'm in. Hi, Lynn.
And there's Tom.
Morning, Tom.
Good morning.
And Steve and Lynn.
Let's see. Is that a Fu Manchu you're sporting there, Steve?
Yes, it's gone from a full beard and it's shrinking. So
Every day it's different.
Morning, Chip.
Kind of like my hair. It's different every day. I'm parting it on the left now.
You say you parted what's left.
Hi,
everybody.
Wanda.
Oh,
Good morning.
Good morning.
And Sue is here and Christy's connecting.
Steve, you need to shave.
No, I don't think so.
good morning to you too, Wanda.
You're going to grow it long enough to make a handlebar?
Norma.
I'm trying to see if it'll go up and get on top of my head.
Oh,
Or head.
and you're glad of that, aren't you, Lynn?
Oh, yeah.
I'll have to figure that out later.
I don't think I've said hi to you, Sylvia.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Wanda, I can't see you.
I have my stuff on. I turned,
I can see something, maybe your wall, but I can't. You need to adjust maybe the camera to point to you.
oh, yeah.
Good morning, Norma.
Hi, good morning.
Morning. Can see Christy's window behind her. Can't see Christy exactly.
I can't see Norma.
Because you're picking. Anything's weird. I'm going to use me.
So again, I'll, as we start, remind folks you might want to mute your microphone to avoid feedback until you feel led to speak. Dan is the worship leader this morning. I do have two bits of news. One is sad but not unexpected. Dale Dorrell called this morning, and Gladys passed away last night. So he said they don't know exactly what the cause was. she was being treated for COVID, but she had Alzheimer's and other issues. So there's nothing scheduled at the minute, of course, but he said he would like to have a memorial at West Newton when we can all get together sometime. And I told him, of course, we would make that happen. So we should hold the Doral family in our thoughts and prayers today. Also,
She was 94. Just in case you're interested, she's 94, and I did let Ruth Albert know that this morning.
Okay. You saw the governor's recommendations for the state about meeting. Worship services could resume on the 8th. I'm going to send an email poll out tomorrow with some of the information that, as far as the recommendations, et cetera, and folks from West Newton can decide if we want to resume in person or stay on Zoom or do some combination thereof. Of course, the recommendations still are that folks 65 and older should not be congregating. So that takes in a few of us anyhow. Dan and Christy are out, I think, so they could.
And Amanda.
And Amanda.
Amanda.
Yeah. So there's a couple youngsters in here who are just in their 50s and 60s. But I'll be polling people and checking. Are there other prayer concerns or joys to share that you'd like to share now?
I'd just like to encourage people to, can you mute yours, Steve? Or let me mute mine. I'm hearing. No, okay. Steve and I are beside each other and I can hear me coming back on his. Can you mute you or something? You are? Okay. Well, call Ruth. Take turns calling Ruth. She, I think, is really lonely. I know she's really lonely. They have to be in their rooms all the time. They can't even eat with other people. Or turn the volume down. So she's really, really struggling at this point, I think. So take turns and call her.
I have an announcement, sort of a thing. Next Sunday is Mother's Day, and I would invite each of you to bring something to worship, no matter where we are. Bring something to worship that your mother gave you. Be prepared to tell us what it is and why it's important to you, or something about how it has made a difference in your faith walk. Bring something your mother gave you. Next.
A joy would be those masks that Sylvia has been making. She sent me 4. I've kept one. My son's getting one, and 2 neighbors were delighted. So thank you. And yes, I made a donation to the COVID fund at FUM in your honor.
A couple of things, Brent. First of all, as we consider whether we want to meet back together, you might be interested to know that we have twice as many people by Zoom as we usually do when we physically get together. That's something to consider. The other is trustees are looking to get the carpets cleaned at the meeting house and do some other cleaning prior to getting back together. If anyone knows a reputable carpet cleaner, if you would forward that information to me, I would appreciate it. Lynn sent out a list of things that Wilmington meeting is doing to prepare to return to the meeting house. And those are some things that we want to address.
Okay, can you hear me? This is Norma.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, all right, thank you. I noticed in the paper, actually at the end of April, that there was a whole article and a picture of workers in a factory in Gaza, and they are making protective gear for hospitals, and they're sending them, actually it's for all over the world. And the factories have been in had a real problem being shut down more or less since 2007. And now they have actually, Gaza has been spared from the coronavirus pandemic. They only have had 17 cases detected so far, and they're purchasing materials from Israel, and their factories are back at capacity for making masks and other kinds of shields for the pandemic workers. So this is exciting that that their workers are back and earning money again. That's all.
I'd like to remember our friends in Kenya and in Africa, because they're going to be getting hit next. And I've been quite concerned about them. I don't know that there's anything that we need to do except maybe keep in touch with FUM so we know what we can do.
Okay, we'll go into silence now. And again, I invite you to put your microphone on mute to avoid feedback. And Dan is a worship leader. He'll speak out of the silence when he's led.
How do you put your microphone on mute?
If you're on the computer, down on the left, generally, there's a little microphone button and a little video camera button. If you click the microphone button, that will mute you. Somewhere on your screen, there should be
I
a
see.
little.
I see. Yep. Thank you.
Welcome and welcome and welcome. It's good to come together. Please make contact with those that are in your soul circle that are temporarily separated from your warmth and kindness. Loneliness is another byproduct of the virus that's going around. A four-leaf clover, luck of the Irish. Lucky Charms, magically delicious. A lucky rabbit's foot. Cross your fingers for luck. Beginner's luck. Karen Carpenter sang of a kiss for luck. Then there's the oft-repeated Clint Eastwood line that questions feeling lucky. In this time of being a homebody, mostly, the second most difficult thing for me in this COVID-19 time is staying away from the Goodwill outlet and the fact that there's a dearth of yard sales. Treasure hunting will have to wait. One of these past cold, dreary days, I decided it was a good day for a lazy read. I knew there were books from Goodwill I hadn't read sitting on my shelf. My speedy scan crossed Silver Chief, Dog of the North by Jack somebody. I pulled it from the shelf and plopped on the couch to begin the mindless adventure. Inside the front cover, Lois Mom had recorded it as a Christmas present from 1951. Chapter 1, Birth of the Chief. Now wait a minute, this is rather pithy writing. Not Jack London, it's a Jack O'Brien. Why would I have spent 75 cents at Goodwill on this hardback? I fanned the pages, and the memory flash of the day I bought it came right back. I had picked it out because the cover was the same color and texture of the Hardy Boys series. While it wasn't a Hardy Boys book, I fanned the pages and then discovered inside 20 neatly pressed 4-leaf clovers. They had been resting there presumably since the 50s. They were older than I. What luck to find a book full of lucky 4-leaf clover. But then you would have to believe in that sort of thing. The idea of lucky clover has been around a long time. It's been around long enough that the real origin has been lost. It's a mutation that occurs when white clover, in about 1 in 10,000 plants. Any good patch about the size of an office desk should produce a few. The luck part comes from the rarity of finding one. The purists insist that even all 4-leaf clovers are not lucky. The 4th leaf must be somewhat smaller to be of the lucky variety. A truly lucky one will grant you the power to see fairies and leprechauns. I don't know if there's some correlation, but Guinness has been brewed in Dublin since 1759. So maybe it's the Irish making all this stuff up. However, 4-leaf clovers are not to be confused with shamrocks. That's a different plant entirely. Well, there is a lot of white clover in Ireland, and thus the connection to the luck of the Irish. It's said that St. Patrick used the shamrock to illustrate the Christian belief of 3 in 1. The 3 leaves of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit connected to one stem. What else might folklore have us believe is lucky? You've certainly all heard of a lucky rabbit's foot, and the joke, not so lucky for the rabbit. The idea associated with rabbit luck is nearly universal. The oldest that can be recorded is from the Celts in about 600 BC, but for them it involved the whole rabbit. Since they were burrowing animals, it was thought that they could communicate with the underworld. Later, there was a connection established to the African American practice of hoodoo. Because of their breeding proclivity, it was believed possessing the feet of the rabbit would improve fertility. But there were and are rabbit stipulations. It must be the left hind foot. It must have been killed or captured in a cemetery. It must be cut off on a specific day, usually a Friday, and sometimes with variations for weather and date. There's one more thing. The power of the luck could be amplified if the rabbit was killed on a grave. The meaner the person in the grave, the greater the luck. So what are faithful Christians to do with the idea of luck? I looked in my biblical concordance and there was no reference to the word luck. When I looked, it would be somewhere between Lucifer and lucre. Why would I need to believe in luck? Would that be a crack in my faith if I had to think there was a truth in superstition? Here's some words from the book of John. Jesus said, "A new commandment I give you, that you love one another, even as I have loved you, that you also love one another. By this all men will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." And Chapter 14, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. And I will pray to the Father, and he will give you another counselor to be with you forever. Even the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive because it neither sees him nor knows him. You know him, for he dwells with you and will be in you. If I have the Spirit of truth in me, what need have I of any other earthly superstition? It is for me to keep open a connection to the Spirit sent by the Father and to perform as I am counseled.
When I was a school principal, sometimes I go out on the sidewalk at the end of the day and say goodbye to students and kind of watch for their safety. And I got notified by the bus garage that one of our buses was to be about 30 minutes late. And so the children were already standing on the sidewalk waiting for the bus. The weather was nice, kind of like a day like yesterday. And they were getting a little restless and wanting something to do. So I said, put down your book bags in your row, standing in line, so you know where to find it. And I'll pay you 25 cents, a quarter for each 4-leaf clover you can find. They all took off to the grass, and $3.75 later, the bus came. I kept having to send back in word to the office to send me some more quarters. $3.75 later, the bus came. Well, I just read, and I can't remember where, the last few weeks, that the scripture that Dan read is the basis for the Friends, one of the bases for the Friends' belief that gambling is wrong, that lotteries are outside of the word of the Spirit. And now it sort of makes sense to that, doesn't it? That's what Friends believe. Should we be following the will of God already? Luck is a superstition.
The idea of luck implies that it's something that just happens. You just happen to be in the right place at the right time. But some of the luckiest people I know are also some of the most hardworking people, the most dedicated, the most energetic. And then when something happens good to them, it's usually the result of a lot of preparation, a lot of hard work, in either being in the right place or not being in the wrong place. So my idea and my family has always talked about you make your own luck. And I think for me, that is what the takeaway that I have from the idea of luck. You make your own luck by doing the right things at the right time in the right place. And to buy a lottery ticket or just stand by and think that good things are going to happen to you, you're going to be disappointed. And if you've ever gotten down on your hands and knees and tried to find a 4-leaf clover, you realize it takes a lot of work.
Our late mayor, Bill Hudnut, always said, luck is where preparation meets opportunity. And he was also a former minister, and he used that phrase often when he would be talking. And I occasionally commit the sin of buying a lottery ticket because I know that the money goes to the police and firemen and teachers retirement fund. And I always figure that, in fact, when I buy one, I tell people I'm making a contribution to that fund. And that has been the reward of what I have received from buying those tickets from time to time.
Well, thank you, friends, for joining in worship, and Dan for your message, and the others who shared out the silence. It's good to see everybody. Look forward to when we can all see each other in person someday. So have a blessed week. Stay safe, stay healthy. Let us know if you need anything.